So I don't think that there's anybody who has been publicly attacked as much as J.K. Rowling over opposition to gender ideology. And to her credit, she's not backing down. Here's the headline: Domestic terrorism. J.K. Rowling fires back after trans activists chant, "A turf, a bullet, social justice." So violent rhetoric coming from far-left activists. What a surprise. So what happened here? Author J.K. Rowling responded after radical trans activists swarmed a Paris event, chanting calls for violence and even murder in French. A turf, a bullet, social justice. So what were these activists protesting? Well, it says here they gathered outside Assas University, and they were calling specifically for violence against authors Dora Muto and Marguerite Stern as they gave a talk about the issues addressed in their new book, Questioning Gender Ideology, Transmania. And this is a French language book, and I went to the Goodreads page for it to get a synopsis, and I got a translation here. It says, "Welcome to a world where Robert becomes Catherine. This is the story of one of the biggest conceptual breaks of the century that we will tell you. Transgender ideology is infiltrating all spheres of society. It presents itself as a simple movement for the rights of an oppressed minority. Yet, behind the glitter, there is a harmful political project that is about to upset our relationship to reality." And you can probably tell this is a Google translation to English from French. But it says, after years of work, targets of all pressures, they sign a thorough investigation into the excesses of transgender ideology. Which, to my mind, seems like a perfectly reasonable thing to do, seeing as none of this transgender ideology has even the slightest hint of scientific credibility. So Dora Muto, a co-author of the book Transmania, tweeted this: "A turf, a bullet, social justice. A crowd of transgender activists called for the murder of Marguerite Stern and I in front of the police at Assas University. We gave a conference on our book, Transmania. Yes, this is where we're at. Please let the world know what is going on in France." Well, what's going on in France is what's going on everywhere. Yeah, it seems to be the same pretty much everywhere. There's just this reluctance to do anything about somebody if they're sufficiently far left and crazy enough. Now here's Dora Muto talking about the book on GB News.
Yeah, exactly. When you're gender critical, people say that you're from the right wing. This is what's happening to me. I come from the left. I'm a feminist from the left. But actually, no media on the left would let me speak. No publisher on the left would publish my book.
Well, that's the thing about these days. Somebody can feel like they're on the left, but if they're even slightly critical of something like gender theory, for instance, well, all of academia, the media, most of the politicians are going to say that you're on the right, if not the far right. And that's what's making the whole kind of right-left dichotomy more and more meaningless. It's really just sane versus far-left crazies, far-left extremism, radicalism. And that's absolutely the situation that J.K. Rowling is finding herself in now. She was always a liberal, but she was like a traditional liberal. But if you listen to her critics, I guess if you read The Guardian, you'd think she just invaded Poland. Now, in response to the first video I showed you where the activists were chanting about bullets and social justice, J.K. Rowling said, "This is domestic terrorism." And yeah, I mean, it's certainly a threat to commit domestic terrorism, is it not? But unfortunately, saying blindingly obvious things today gets you into trouble. Here's some of the tweets that got her in trouble with the activist crowd in the first place. Here she is responding to an article, creating a more equal world for people who menstruate. She said, "People who menstruate. I'm sure there used to be a word for those people. Someone help me out. Wumpin, wimpund, woomud? Yeah, I would hardly call that extreme." How about this one? "If sex isn't real, there's no same-sex attraction. If sex isn't real, the lived reality of women globally is erased. I know and love trans people, but erasing the concept of sex removes the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. It isn't hate to speak the truth." And for saying things like this, J.K. Rowling is now apparently a hate-filled super Nazi. So there we have it. J.K. Rowling's a far-right phobe. These feminist authors are also far-right phobes, apparently. And hopefully somebody will notice that they're not the ones actually threatening violence. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Please like, share, and subscribe. Sharing really helps me out. Thank you for that. I will see you next time.